Hi, my name is Ibrahim. I'm one of the tutors at Pioneer Tutoring and Career Services, and in today's session, we'll be going through one of the units in grade 11 Alberta Math curriculum, which is on equations and inequalities. On the right-hand side is the information for the company. If you want any additional information, you can visit our website or give us a call at the numbers provided. In grade 11, you essentially have 7 key units in the math curriculum. The first one is on equations and inequalities. Then you have sequences and series. After that, you have quadratic functions and equations, radicals, trigonometry, rational expressions and equations, and then finally absolute values and reciprocal functions. For the purpose of this video, I'm using the following links. So if you want a detailed information on these units, you can visit the link provided. And when I do an example, I'll also be using a graphing calculator, and I've also provided a link for that. The example that we're going to cover in today's session is on two equations and two unknowns. So essentially, there are three ways you can solve for equations. Okay, so the first one is known as substitution method. In the substitution method, you solve for one of the variables, you plug it into the other equations, and then you get your answer. And then you plug that variable into one of the original equations to get your other variable. And again, when we do an example, you'll see how it essentially works. The second one is known as the elimination method. And by the word itself, you're going to eliminate one of the variables, then solve for the other one, and then plug that one into the original equation to get the answer. And the final method, which is by far the easiest one, is the graphical method. So with the graphical method, all you're doing is you're writing each equation in terms of y, you're plugging it into your calculator, and then you're finding the intersection point. All three methods should give you the same answer. So without wasting any more time, let's jump into method number one. So the equations we have are y minus 2x is equal to 1, and the second equation is 5x minus 2y is equal to 3. So the first thing you'll have to do with these questions is you have to make sure that both the equations are written in terms of y. So if I write the first equation in terms of y, then it becomes y is equal to 1 plus 2x. So all I've done is I've moved the 2x to the right hand side. Now for equation number 2, I'm going to do the exact same thing. So first I'm going to move what I can do is I can move the 2y to the right hand side and then divide the right hand side by 2 and then divide the left hand side by 2. So in other words, you would get 5x minus 3 is equal to 2y. Now in order to get rid of the 2, I'm going to have to divide this side by 2 and then this entire thing by 2. So then I end up with y is equal to 5x minus 3 divided by 2. So this is my second equation. Now the first method that we're gonna use is called the substitution one. Okay. So with the substitution one, what I can do is I can write any one of those equations in terms of any of the variables provided and then plug it into the other one. So what I've done is I've written both those equations in terms of y. So what I can do is I can take equation number 1 and plug that in for y in equation number 2. So in other words, equation 1 is 1 plus 2x, right? This is what y is equal to. So I can make that substitution into equation number 2. So equation number 2 becomes 1 plus 2x is equal to 5x minus 3 divided by 2. Now you can see that I have this equation only in terms of one variable. So now I can solve for x. So in order to solve for x, I'm first going to get rid of the denominator. So I'm going to multiply this side by 2. And then I'm going to multiply the left hand side by 2. Now I can distribute the 2 in. So when I distribute this in, I'm left off with 2 plus 4x is equal to 5x minus 3. Now what I want to do is I want to have the variables on one side and number on the other. So I'm going to subtract 4x from here. This cancels out. And then I'm going to subtract 4x from here. So when I do that, I'm left off with 2 is equal to 1x, which is essentially an x, minus 3. Now I'm going to move the 3 to the left hand side. So I'm going to add 3 here and then add 3 on this side. So by doing that, you'll see that I've actually solved for x. So x is equal to 5 in this case. Now, in order to solve for y, I can plug it into any one of those equations, either equation 1 or equation 2. Let's plug it into equation number 1. Okay, so equation number 1 says, so equation 1 says, so I'm just going to scroll up, 1 plus 2x. So 1, so y is equal to 1 plus 2x. Now x we have already solved for. We got that to be equal to 5. So all I need to do is make that substitution into this equation. So then y is going to be 1 plus 2 multiplied by 5. 2 multiplied by 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11. So y is equal to 11. So my answer to this equation is x is equal to 5 and y is equal to 11. One thing you want to do at the end is you want to plug each one of them into either of the equations to make sure that the left hand side equals the right hand side. So one of my equations, the first one was y is equal to 1 plus 2x. So if I make the substitution, you'll see that on the left hand side I get 11, and then on the right hand side I get 1 plus 2 times 5, which is 11. So that means left hand side is equal to right hand side. Therefore 5 and 11 is my solution. Okay. Now we're going to do the exact same example but with the elimination method. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm quickly going to copy this down so we don't have to keep on scrolling up. Okay. So with the elimination one, essentially what you're doing is you're eliminating one of the variables. So again, you can write this in terms of y if you want to, but for elimination it really doesn't make a difference because one of the variables is going to get cancelled anyways. So right now my equations are y minus 2x is equal to 1. My second equation is 5x minus 2y is equal to 3. So now what I want to do is I want to arrange it in a way so that I have the same variables on top of one another. So what I mean by that is I'm going to write the first equation as minus 2x plus y is equal to 1, and the bottom one as 5x minus 2y is equal to 3. Now again, you can get rid of any one of the variables, right? Either x or y. But in this case, it's easier to get rid of the y because all I need to do is multiply this top equation by 2, right? So I'm going to multiply this by 2. Now when I multiply this by 2, you'll see that this would become 2y, and then if I add this equation to the one below, y would become 0. So in other words, I would have eliminated for variable y. So let's try that out. So 2 times minus 2 is minus 4x, right? And then 2 times positive y is plus 2y, and then 2 times 1 is 2. So now if I take this equation and add it to the second equation, which is this one here, I will be able to solve for x. So minus 4x plus 5x gives me 1x, plus 2y plus minus 2y gives you 0y, so I've eliminated for y, and then 2 plus 3 gives you 5. So x is equal to 5 in this case. Again, in order to solve for y, all I need to do is take any one of the original equations and make this substitution. So if I take equation number 1, I know that y is equal to 1 plus 2x. If I plug in 5 for x, I would get y to be 11. And again, if I scroll up, you'll see that it's the exact same answer as the one before. And again, one thing you want to do is you want to take this and plug it into any one of those equations to make sure that the left hand side equals the right hand side. Now the final method is called the graphical method. So with the graphical one, it's essential for you to write it in terms of y, because if it's not written in terms of y, then you cannot really plug it into the calculator. So equation number 1 written in terms of y is going to be y is equal to 1 plus 2x, and the second equation written in terms of y is going to be 5x minus 3 divided by 2 is equal to y. Okay, so this is my equation number 1, this is my equation number 2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the calculator and I'm going to plug these two numbers in. So the first one is 1 plus 2x, and as you can see it gives you a slanted line, and the second one is 5 multiplied by x minus 3. Now all of this is divided by 2. So now if you look closely um, at this screen, you can see that these two lines, they intersect at this point, and that point is 5 and 11. So that means your x coordinate is equal to 5 and the y coordinate is equal to 11. So you can see that this method is so much faster because you don't have to show any of the work. But on an exam, your teacher might specifically say to use the substitution one or the elimination one. So in that way, obviously, you cannot use this, but you can always use the graphical method to check your answer. So 5 and 11, so from here, x is going to be equal to 5 and y is going to be equal to 11. And as you can see, if we compare all the three methods, all of them give us the same answer. So it doesn't matter which one you use as long as you know how to do it. So that takes us to the end of this video. I hope it was useful. If there is any feedback, please provide them in the comment section below, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you very much and have a great day. Bye for now.